Last time on Dice Fall and Everyone Dies. So what's the critical effect on a trip?
He breaks his neck and dies.
Taffy. So one of them is booking it out and is now a solid 75 feet up and away. And then another one is on the ground trying to disentangle itself from a Tanglefoot bag. And another one is right up on Deimos.
I'm gonna cast Magic Missile at the one that's flaying.
Regular magic missile.
What is Cozy Cabin, Sid? And why does Chris look vaguely disappointed? And it lasts for 12 hours.
At the end of the day, we can, instead of being camping, we can just be in a house.
Yeah. So you're just gonna summon this hut?
Yeah. From now on, it's going to be on my prep spell list.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Dice Fall and Everyone Dies. We have a wonderful gift brought to us by the wonderful Shay and Jules that we will be opening up that goes out to everyone here at our table, and we'll be doing that here in a moment. But before we get to shiny things, how is everyone doing? Let's start with Jules. How are you doing?
Alive. I've nearly consumed an entire 20-ounce Red Bull at this point.
You're wearing an ugly sweater.
I am.
I don't know. I like the patterns.
It's my favorite. It's big.
And Sid, how are you doing?
I'm sleepy. My coffee hasn't kicked in yet.
All right. CCs of caffeine stat. Shay, how are you doing?
I'm here. I'm good. The holidays are coming.
Yes. Zach?
I'm good too. I'm not really excited about having to buy a bunch of people presents this year. It's kind of not where I'm comfortable right now.
Right?
In that sense of
Getting
money,
around
times.
people.
Well, you all got new dice, so...
We did. So...
Shiny. Hopefully Zach rolls a little bit better.
Well, I rolled good last time, so
yeah,
maybe that'll continue.
So they're really pretty. I like them.
Shout out to the Cozy Gamer. That's where I bought all y'all dice.
Cozy Gamer did a good job. I like it. I
They
like it. We'll try rolling them today and see if they punish y'all for being generous.
Yep.
But before we do that, despite Medvic's highest objections, I have hero points for everyone.
Cough them up.
All right, let's send these ones down. Send 3 down, pass it around. Medvic's going to kill me later today. God damn it.
He hasn't killed you yet.
I know, but he keeps threatening it. And Shay and Jules brought this bag from Beetle and Grimm's. And now, what was the story you were telling me about Beetle and Grimm's, Shay?
They shipped out from Grapevine, which is really fucking local, so...
All right. So we open this up. It's got a really cool drawstring. It's a cool blue bag. And I see what appear to be bean bags. And these bean bags have numbers on them. Looks like they're numbered from 1, 7. Are we looking at 1 to 9, 1 to 8? Looking like. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I can count to 8, everyone. It's fantastic. Okay.
They're initiative bags.
Ah.
So whoever gets initiative 1 gets 1, etc., etc.
Yes.
Oh.
So I know Chris is tracking initiative on his handy dandy little initiative chart, but then you also have all of us who are sitting here going, "Who's next? Whose turn is it next? Chris, who's next? Chris."
So here's
who's
the other
next?
thing.
Chris.
Yeah, but I can now pull it out and just throw it at you.
You can, absolutely. I threw one at Jules earlier.
I will say it will take a little bit of strain off of you if we maybe put them in the center of the table. We can just grab them at the beginning of each combat.
Yes.
Or you can throw them at us.
But I could throw them.
You could.
I'm not going to because that's mean.
They're very soft. They're very well made. I peeked at them earlier.
But part of me likes the idea of getting like the equivalent of a little catapult, and so that you could just like catapult the beanbag over.
Figured it would be helpful since we not only have to keep track of initiative for Age of Ashes, but we also have to do it for Gengos to Galarion.
I could see this being a really great convention tool.
Hell yeah.
The mauve set you got me?
No, you got the sparkling Sakura dice.
Okay.
All right, here, Zach, if you'll put this in the center of the
I
table.
literally grabbed the pinkest, glitteriest, hollowiest dice that I could find.
Excellent. So it's a good way to start it off. One might think that we might be in for tons of combat this session.
We're in the friggin' Mwang. I'm so tired of this jungle. You see, I'm this is the kind of person I am. Is that partway through one of the books, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Can I have a new location, please? I would like to exchange this.
And the answer to that is,
Let me talk to your manager.
No, I don't have my receipt.
So when we last left off, there was a cozy cottage in the middle of the jungle.
Yes.
Ubak was resting on the top while making sure that his jests didn't get him in too much trouble with the heart-to-heart with wonderful Deimos, and everyone was very much cozy in the cozy cottage. It was a good evening. There wasn't a hint of mosquitoes even remotely in there. It's as though a set of magic energy was preventing any of these outside malaria-carrying, fortitude roll saving, perfect camp modifying activity was just happening.
It sounds like the DM might have some, like,
Grumps.
about this.
Well, it's just, I still wanted to give one of y'all malaria, and
That's an out of...
we hit dysentery a couple times, but there was never one of those Oregon Trail moments where everyone is about to die of dysentery.
Thank God.
And the little part of my brain where Medvic lives is just, chewing on its hat, throwing it down, and then stamping on the poor thing.
Okay, calm down, Medvic Rumpelstiltskin.
Well, see, every time that y'all would roll a natural one of those fortitude saves, Medvic gets a button back. And, Medvic is basically looking at a curtailing of his investment choices.
It is a curtailing.
So
But that's what happens when you have casters.
That's what happens when you have investments. Sometimes they just don't pan out.
Also, Deimos has, I think it's advanced first aid that's...
Yes, Deimos' advanced first aid is crazy, because now Deimos can force resolution to things like sickness and the like, more than just healing straight up. Deimos can stop more than the bleed. Deimos now has everything in that healer's kit for covering any heartburn, any indigestion, upset stomach,
Diarrhea.
It's like he's got a can of Pepto-Bismol. Da, 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 da. We're totally not sponsored, but it would have worked, Pepno, if he listened.
I like Tums better.
Tums.
Yeah.
Tums.
I like my bismuth in chewable tablets versus liquid form.
Yeah.
So, y'all had just conquered a storming, lightninging pillar and had moved the hex just north when y'all had settled down for the evening. So, now you know that the pillar that y'all know about that Harriet dropped off some information on for you is 2 hexes away. You can either head north directly and then northwest, or you can head northwest and then north. And that's so y'all could get there in 1 day if you didn't take any exploration activities, or 2 days by y'all's regular methodology.
We're probably going to stick to our regular methodology because it's
With the
served us
exception
well
of
so
Renoli
far.
making camp, because...
Yeah.
So how do y'all want to handle the tracking and scouting with a lot of y'all's support characters? Do y'all want to send them out in every direction? Do you want to send them out in a single direction? How would y'all like to handle that? And so y'all have 4 unexplored areas presently surrounding you. 3 of them are to the north, one's northwest,
And we have
northeast.
Ubak, Dago, Wimble, and technically Renali that can all go do exploration stuff.
Correct.
I would like to keep probably Renali still with the group.
Same.
Bring up Archives of Nethys and bring up exploration activities.
I don't have altruistic reasons other than she's my girlfriend.
Judging you.
I'm gonna send Wimble northwest to meet us in the hex directly above that when we get there.
Alright, so Wimble will explore to the north and west. Does that mean y'all want to move as a group directly north?
I think that's probably prudent.
Excellent.
So Stano is still setting up a defend. I think we decided that Deimos is doing cover tracks.
I'm doing detect magic consistently.
And then is Dago going to do any scouting, Zach?
I'll keep him with me.
Alrighty. So we have Wimble doing some scouting. Ubak has generally been doing the subsisting, helping to keep y'all's food supply and water supply in line. Do y'all
Let's
want...
keep him doing that.
Yeah.
Okie doke. So y'all have one person scouting, and that's Wimble. And so Wimble is doing a scouting in the northwest hex.
Or do we want to have Renali start doing the subsistence and then have Ubak scout to our direct north?
Well, y'all are also moving north.
We can have him do northeast.
we can still have him scout north
You want to
because
have
that
him
will
do the one above?
because that will give us a +1 to any initiative checks.
Oh, that's fair.
I can do it.
Yeah, you're not gonna get me that easily.
I was thinking from the area of exploration, because then you could have him do 2 hexes of exploration north and see if there was anything above. So, are y'all feeling good with that so far?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alrighty.
So I guess what technically Renali's doing is the search action,
Mhm.
which is seeking meticulously.
Making sure that all of the things that can be found are found.
So if there are any traps or anything or concealed hazards, she finds them.
So as y'all begin moving through the jungle, y'all find that, and Kazlin is probably one of the primary beneficiaries of this, all of the additional nooks and crannies that exist within this jungle setup versus some of the standard forests. So, like, Kazlin would look for a set of mushrooms, or maybe a couple small animals that he could feed the Dago, and he'd look in one section, then Renali would point out a couple additional ones. He'd be like, check here, and then all of a sudden there'd be like this giant grub about the size of his fist, and then Dago just comes in, swoops in, grabs it, and just keels on off with it afterwards. And so you learn a pretty good bit of jungle craft from Renali with this going on. Ubak is doing his kind of scouting forward, and he'll peel forward, 10, 20 minutes at a time, and then you'll see him come back, and sometimes he'll pop in upside down and be like, nope, everything's cool. Or then other times you'll see him coming in with some sort of jungle fruit of wide variety from time to time. But as y'all begin making your way through the jungle, y'all know that the pillar itself is going to be to your north and west. In this case, you can't really find any particular jungle trails that are leading to anything particular more than just like what you'd consider a game trail. And Wimble ends up coming back and doesn't have anything outside of a really sweaty figure, a little bit of jonesing for a little bit of vodka.
Oh.
Vodka. And give him a
But there's
little
nothing
bit
in
of
that
vodka.
northwest. There's nothing in that northwest hex.
He did not come back with anything in particular to report.
Okay.
And so, in this case, that means that y'all now have 2 more areas of which y'all have explored. For your next day, do you want to continue the same scouting? You know that you're going to be going into an area that has a pillar. Do y'all want to have your scouts scout around, or do you want to have everyone moving as a group?
I would say at this point, let's move as a group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everyone...
Sato's still going to be taking the defend action, and I would think that we would probably have Kazlin doing the active scout action for the +1 to initiative.
Sure.
And I'm still doing detect magic.
Deimos ready for another dispel magic check. Well, we know how it works now.
So, starting this one out, Kazlin, give me your perception check. And how do you want to go about doing your scouting?
Very sneakily, I guess.
Would you rather use your perception or your stealth?
Let's go ahead and use perception.
Alright, go ahead and start me off with that then.
Alright, gonna use that new die.
How good is the dice? Is it blessed with good crits?
Well, that did help me roll a 32.
Hell yeah!
Alrighty.
See, I told you it's a good thing we didn't get him the blood splattered dice.
There's one that's like a blood pool and skull. And I was like, huh, that's pretty cool.
And go ahead and give me your stealth. Since you were wanting to do this super sneakily.
Need that.
Oh, thank you, Goslin.
That was a natural 1.
Oh, that would have been bad,
They
but
can't all be winners.
That is a 9 plus 14, so
23.
23.
23. So you begin moving forward and scouting forward. You're probably a good quarter mile in front of everyone in your scouting, and you come across a it's hard to call it a clearing by like the same kind of examples that you've seen before. This area is clearer than the standard sets of brush, but the canopy is still fairly dense above. The thing that you notice first as you're getting close to this area is that there's kind of a sinister pall that seems to hang over the area of the forest. Where before you're listening to the birds, frogs, and insects, suddenly that canopy was very like deafening up in there. But now you get this kind of menacing silence that exists there. For ahead, you do see that there is an ominous pillar that is topped with an indigo carving of a dragon's head, and it looms in the middle of a tangled clearing. And as you begin observing the clearing, making sure...
It's blackberry flavored. Huckleberry?
I don't know if this pillar wants to be your huckleberry. And as you are observing, taking a look at the stuff around, the clearing itself seems to have a floor of what appears to be like tingling sort of vines, just vines all running around and across each other. Very much a high amount of overgrowth in this area. And as you're looking around, trying to see if there's any other types of guardians, since y'all have often seen these pillars paired with such, you actually see what appear to be several small amphibious styled humanoids. And these aren't quite like the boggards you've seen before, though their size is a bit similar. These are leaner, brighter colored greens. The eyes are not shaped like that of a toad. Give me a society check, Kaz.
27.
You think you've heard of these types of humanoids before. You think this is a small grouping of Gripplis. So they're known for making their homes in the the treetops of tropical jungles and forests. They tend to be relatively good-natured, but fairly neutral. They tend to not like getting into conflicts. And what's your bonus to perception, Kaz?
Oh no.
15.
So when you look at these, you can obviously tell that something is going on with their eyes. They appear to be moving listlessly. They don't appear to be blinking a particular amount, and it looks like there's this weird sort of purplish blue around the openings to the eyes. And you see what you think a couple of them appear to be some type of archer. You see them with a selection of like bows, short bows, you believe, and short swords. And you catch another one of them who looks like he is carrying a two-handed staff. And as you're kind of adjusting, trying to look for a different view, you seem to kind of catch its attention for a moment. What do you want to do?
Now, is that, when you say catches attention, is he like full on like focused on me, or is it more of just like he saw me like maybe like the edge of my cloak fluttering through as I went through the forest?
Like in a video game, the exclamation mark is above his head, but you've not yet aggroed.
Okay.
Like,
So in Hitman, he would have a question mark above his head,
Yes.
not an exclamation point.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna make my best effort to pull back.
Okay.
To the team.
Go ahead and give me another stealth.
25.
So you kind of begin moving back, and as you do, this Grippli with the staff kind of begins making broad sweeping gestures in kind of your direction, but you're able to quickly lose them in the underbrush as you begin heading back to the party. How would Caslin convey what he saw?
Has anybody in here ever heard of a Grippli?
Society check?
Yep.
We're all consulting our tiny world history books. 27.
24.
And Taffy, do you want to do one as well?
I just had to get my app here.
I see Sid has obtained a new tablet case. It is pink and it is sparkly.
That has been gone.
Took me forever to find the right one for it, because the first time I tried to find a case for that, I actually got one for a 7-inch tablet. And I'm like,
Too small.
that's not gonna fit.
I mean, you could always cut off part of the tablet to make it fit.
I would have had to cut off 2 parts of the tablet to make it fit, and then it wouldn't function anymore.
I mean, sometimes you have to make sacrifices.
That's a 21.
Okay.
So, you don't know a ton about Mwangi Gripplis, but they are sometimes known to be up in the more southern forests of Avestan. So not quite necessarily jungle, but where the forest tends to get fairly dense and thick, and they're the more wild places of that continent. But for the most part, they tend to be fairly peaceful hunter-gatherer type societies. They have a modest understanding of agriculture, but they don't raise crops in like the traditional sense. They will essentially cultivate naturally occurring patches of vegetation, but they are also fairly keen hunters. So there are some known advanced Grippli societies where they kind of capture and breed insects. That's one of the things they're more famously known for, being large insect riders. That's about the general understanding folks have of them. If you like cute tree frogs, think of them about the size of a gnome plodding around or potentially flying on the backs of insects.
Cute. So gnome-sized tree frogs.
Gnome-sized humanoid tree frogs.
That's cute.
They look more tree frog than they look humanoid. But
Taffy
they
found
got
friends.
opposable thumbs.
Okay. So when you say they're hunter-gatherer, it wouldn't be unusual to see them with these weapons.
Correct.
Okay. And how close were they to the pillar?
From what you sensed, they appeared to have been guarding it.
Okay.
So you guys may know that Gripplis typically are pretty
Peaceful?
peaceful, but also they try to stay away from other affairs. It looks like we have a few who are guarding this, the pillar up ahead, and I don't think they're doing it on their own.
Caslin describe how they look, like with the...
There seems to be something wrong with their eyes.
Taffy? Does that sound like anything?
If you would like, you can grab an Arcana check.
27.
So, Taffy, you can confirm that is an obvious sign of magical compulsion.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, we've been around pillars that make us paralyzed or blind or something, and then other ones that make us sick.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be reasonable to assume that this one might take over our minds.
Might have a compelling factor or something, yeah.
That does seem reasonable. Okay. So if they attack, we take care of them non-lethally and hold them.
If possible.
And we attempt to get Deimos there to dispel it, and then we destroy it.
So,
Sounds good to me.
one of the things that Caslin could help kind of clarify is it's not until well within both the range of the sight of the pillar and the range of dispel magic that the pillar even becomes visible from there. It looks like it is far more close quarters, and that so it's where in y'all's previous pillar encounter there was like this big obvious sort of clearing. This one is much
So
more
we could
tight-knit,
walk
a
into
lot
the
denser jungle.
aura of it without even realizing it.
Correct, but you'll still need to know exactly where it's at.
But it would need to know where we're at, right? To
Also
cast
true.
it. Okay.
So y'all do run into an instance where when you at the moment that you could dispel it, it would still likely get its reaction, but you could be a lot closer to be able to deal with the Gripplis as well.
Okay. So yeah.
So how would y'all like to approach?
I forgot I was wearing a clandestine cloak, so I'm gonna snap it shut.
Stealthily and quietly, with a focus on getting Deimos within the area to dispel magic.
I'm checking what my... I just need to be 120 feet.
Yeah, you just need to also have line of sight on it.
All right. So now, Caslin, are you an expert in stealth?
I'm only trained.
Okay, so then that means we can't do a follow the expert because we don't actually
Yeah.
have an expert. So we're going to need everyone to do stealth checks.
Stealth, you said?
Stealth, yes.
I got 25.
I got a 23.
Are we doing this like a group stealth check? So like
Because y'all cannot follow the expert, it is individualized stealth checks.
I got a 19.
I cast sphere of invisibility on myself.
Can't we all get into that sphere?
Yeah.
How big is the sphere?
Hold on.
Oh yeah, and there are 2 extra that are not part of our
Yeah.
group too. Renali and Ubek.
Also, Dago and Wimble.
Yeah. But Dago's like tucked under my cloak most of the time, so
You got a breath weapon yet?
I don't think so. No.
Then what are you doing?
What do you mean?
You could have a creature with a breath weapon.
Yeah. Blame Chris. I don't know why.
Worth it. I'll take that on that. So, the invisibility sphere is giving y'all how much to stealth? Plus 20, right?
Give me a sec.
I believe it's something redonkulously high.
We
When
also
you're
need to know how
stealthy.
big it is, see how many of us
It's a
can
10-foot
fit. in it.
emanation.
Right, which means it's 20 foot wide.
Okay.
Oh, then that's
Okay, so
plenty
yeah, all of
space.
us could fit in that.
Does it happen to like turn all of the shrubbery around us invisible too? Like, is there obvious
You and
that
all
there's like a
targets
bubble there?
Are invisible except to each other as long as you remain within the spell's area. It's a creature.
Oh.
If a creature made invisible by the spell leaves the spell's area, it becomes visible and remains so even if it returns to the spell's area. If any creature is made invisible by the spell uses a hostile action, the spell ends after the hostile action is completed.
So a hostile action would be distinguished by the attack trait, right?
Generally.
Okay.
While exploring, it's easy to move together slowly and remain invisible. This is untenable in battle. However, once an encounter begins, creatures remain invisible until at most the end of the first round, at which point the spell ends.
Okay.
So invisibility sphere plus I rolled a 13.
Excellent. So, that still puts Taffy's at 33,
Yeah.
because plus 20 for invisible, and that also means
So-
everyone's are added an additional 20. So, Damos's 25 is now 45.
I ain't seeing shit.
Right, so, and what was Steno's again?
19.
So that means the lowest was actually Taffy's roll of 33.
Okay.
And none of them rolled a 20.
Haha!
So y'all can get in there. But now the important roll is whether or not the pillar rolls a 20.
I do have a question.
Mhm.
If we're going through the area and we kind of like drop off people at different areas to be like hidden by the trees now instead of, so like they come out of the influence of the sphere.
Yep.
And they're now visible. If they attack, does it?
It doesn't, as long as they're not in the invisibility sphere.
Okay, right.
The hostile action has to take place inside the invisibility sphere.
Though they would need to roll a new stealth check dropping out of the sphere range.
Yeah.
Now, so the important part here is that y'all can make it up to where y'all can get to line of sight. But the question is does the pillar, which has a much better perception check,
Yeah.
can it spot y'all's 33? If it can, then it is going to be able to get a reaction when Deimos attempts to dispel.
Okay.
Now, because the dispel is going against, it's basically nullifying it, that will also go ahead and drop invisibility at that point.
Okay.
But we are not going to know whether that's relevant until after the die roll.
All right.
So, we're going ahead and pull this over, get open to the section.
It's very
Good.
stressful.
The perception of this is plus 16, which
Okay.
means it can spot Taffy on a 17 to 20.
Okay. Okay.
So it's still a really, really low chance, but it might happen. Zach, I'd like you to go ahead and witness that number. What number is that?
That is an 8.
Ha
Oh,
fucker!
Demos.
Yes.
You have an opportunity to now cast a spell magic. It's going to drop the invisibility when it happens, but y'all have been able to negate the reaction of the pillar. What level are you casting Dispel Magic?
We're doing it at level 4.
Right, so now that means you need to get at least a success against its counteract check.
So are we in combat yet?
Y'all essentially have guaranteed the equivalent of a surprise round before we go into initiative.
Okay, how far are we from the other creatures in the area?
So the Gripplis themselves, they are around in the clearing. It looks like they are set up in a combat formation between where y'all would be in the pillars. It looks like the one that had spotted you has set them up expecting y'all to return in a short period.
Would you say that we're within 15 feet of him? 20 feet?
Y'all do find yourselves within 1 to 2 strides depending on which one you would be targeting.
Okay.
Okay, so I do a counteract check. What am I doing there?
You're going to roll essentially a spell attack roll.
So, as a 4th level ability, its counteract DC is 22.
30.
30 is a success. So, y'all, as Deimos begins funneling out their dispel magic, trying to pull the access of the magic of that pillar away from that thrumming energy beneath it. The glow of the eyes as it turns and immediately looks like it's gearing up, the eyes begin glowing and then suddenly go and it looks like it is now stopped. The interesting part of here is that without that magic sustaining it, you see that every one of the Gripplis holding a bow had their arrows knocked back, and then all of a sudden they get this really confused look on their face, and they kind of look at each other, and then they turn back and they look at the one with the staff, and they seem really, really weirded out. Like they don't quite remember what they were aiming at. And you can kind of hear them speaking back and forth to each other in this kind of croaky sort of language.
So the invisibility sphere has dropped.
And then that's when they take notice of you, and they're already fairly large eyes.
I would like to specify that Stano does not have her sword out.
Mm-hmm.
So she is standing there unarmed, and she's basically going to put her hands up in the universal, like, we're not attacking you. Do any of you speak common? Chris got to do a check. Chris, roll a society check, see if they speak common.
It already says they speak common. It's the difference between their statistics. They actually happen to speak common and Grippli.
Okay.
So that is, yeah, I mean...
That's interesting.
I think it's kind of one of those, I think maybe when writing it, they expected kind of one of those. It's just like, they speak the known broader common, and then they speak their own isolated regional dialect of Grippli.
Can you imagine if somebody at the beginning of this just decided, like, at the beginning of this campaign, like, last book, was like, you know what, can I have Grippli? Can I learn Grippli?
Can I just learn Grippli? Like, that would be fun.
Can I learn that language? And then, like, later
Actually,
on,
I think that's the language
what?
that you cannot learn. I think it's an uncommon language.
Oh. Well, that'd be funny, though.
You need, like, a really good reason to know it.
And now y'all have a really good reason. Y'all just are now facing down 4 Gripplis and in a kind of a bit of a croaky, also a little bit on a high pitch because it's very reminiscent of a lot of the different types of frog calls that y'all been hearing. The one holding the staff kind of step forwards to speak. Oh shit! What kind of voice am I going to do with that? The one thing I didn't prepare for today. I should have tried preparing a voice every day. Well, because I wanted to kind of do like. You don't want to be like Dago Squawk, right? Because a squawk is not a rivet. But it's not like that deep toad.
Can we ask them if they drink Budweiser?
Yeah, maybe it's just like a really
that would
deep
be
voice.
the Boggards. The Boggards drink. The Boggards drink bud. We must think. Oh man, it sounds like fucking Ubak. I don't like it.
Red leather,
Nope.
yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Red leather, yellow leather.
That's a good one.
Who do we have? Red leather, yellow leather.
Maybe if you tried like a SpongeBob impression, maybe that's something like that.
Hmm.
Red leather. Yeah. Nope. Fuck it. We're not. We can't. We can't have good things. So their green speaker steps forward. So who can we thank for saving us? I just take it to a slightly upper register at this point.
Well, our bard was the one who dispelled that. We need to destroy that pillar, though.
Please do. They literally just totally get out of the way. In fact, we'll help.
Wonderful.
So they draw out their short swords and they go to the backside and they begin doing.
Stano's trying to help, but she's also really nervous about accidentally hitting one of them with her great sword.
What if I just yanked it out of the ground again?
You could try. Suplex it.
You want to try to suplex it again?
Yeah.
So as you begin moving into the clearing, you end up finding that the ground cover actually makes it difficult terrain. And so every time you step, it seems like another vine kind of gets in your way a little bit.
Yeah, only a 19 on that one.
So you start getting to this one, and you can tell that the bottom of this pillar is set.
This is an athletics check?
You have to be of an expert in the skill. What's that look for, Shay?
Not an expert. She's an expert in society.
Great use that's going to be.
Throw my dice
See,
at you.
that's what the beanbags are for. Whack!
Beanbags are over there.
So go ahead and you have an opportunity to give probably 2 more tries before everything kind of kicks up and going. Let me phrase that. Before Steno gets too annoyed at watching you strain yourself trying to lift the pole out of the ground
And just starts whacking
and
it.
starts wailing it.
22.
22 still not enough.
Try this one more time. Digging in, just getting that big old stance. Feet wide, hips low.
You look like you have
26.
dysentery again.
So right as Steno's dysentery comment happens, that you hear this come out of the ground as the thing just sloops out from the...
I was very concerned what that noise was going for a minute there.
As the Caslin finally gets a good pull on the pillar and that squelching sound
Ugh.
emits out. And the pillar is now fully disconnected, magically and physically, from the surrounding energy fields. And between Steno's greatsword and Taffy's axe,
And the short swords from the Gripplis.
shifting cold iron,
Oh, yeah, you're right,
y'all can get the pillar itself destroyed. Unless you want to carry it around as a trophy.
No.
No carrying it around as a trophy?
He's gonna gouge out its eyes first and foremost.
Taffy, I feel like you should speak to someone.
I'm speaking to you
That's not what I mean.
because of the eye thing.
Yes.
Eyes are just creepy.
Taffy, you have eyes.
Not having
can't
eyes
see
is
'em.
creepier.
Stano's gonna look at Renali. And she's gonna look at Taffy.
It's different.
Alright.
She's a hot spider babe.
I do what I can.
Spy. I feel like it's rude to mention this, so I won't, but I'm concerned.
Renali kind of goes to the side. I've worried about my eyes every once in a while, but
Okay,
she
that's
seems-
what I was
it's-
concerned about.
But she has very good self-control when it hasn't tried to kill her at some point. I
You'd think
it's when
she'd be
anything
more
tries-
concerned about, like, mouths.
I think... Pulls a little bit more to the side. It was the way the warg looked at her from what she's told me. The
No, the look.
look from the warg right before it swallowed her.
That's true. She should still speak to someone.
We're going through a process.
In any case.
So as y'all get the pillar destroyed, the small quintuplet of our teenage Grippli
Are they
hunting.
teenagers?
No, I was just thinking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle reference, but and I didn't want. They're not quite Battletoads because that would basically be Boggards. Oh my goodness, I should have a squad of Boggards in here and call them the Battletoads. They thank y'all profusely for assisting them and freeing them from the mind control of that pillar. You get a story from them where they were initially they sensed a change in the ecology to the south of their village and their general hunting grounds.
Y'all. That's what they look like.
Aw, they're cute.
Aw.
I told you, cute, small, tree frog-like humanoids.
How big is that dragonfly, though?
That dragonfly would be probably the size of a medium creature.
So these things were not very threatening. Like, looking like holding their little tiny spears, like
Also-
guarding this thing. Being like 2 feet tall.
They're friend-shaped. They're shaped like a friend.
So it does not seem... You would have given them a similar level of consideration as a boggard.
Oh, we don't give boggarts consideration anymore.
Yeah.
They appear to be a bit more dexterous than the boggarts that you've seen. And their green speaker, it seems to obviously be some sort of primal caster. But they are also looking a bit rough on the edges as well, seeing as they tell you a story of where the pillar had taken essentially control of their minds and had placed itself in their minds as the master, and they've barely been able to get much in the way of sustenance in between.
Oh,
since they've been
Stana will
captured.
offer some of her rations to them.
And they will be more than happy to break bread with you before they head back north. But they are very pleased for the assistance. And no new scars. They're very happy that they didn't have to achieve any new scars.
When we make contact with the Akuje again, we'll let them know that you're aware of what the situation was.
They nod their heads in their very high-pitched croaky tree frog thanks that I can't seem to replicate to save my life. Did y'all want to set up your cozy cottage once more?
Yes.
Yes.
So y'all have been able to successfully and thoroughly destroy that pillar with the dispelling of the magics.
So,
Where do y'all want to head now?
in this area where there was a pillar, there are 3 hexes to the west. Not 3 hexes to the west. So we previously defeated a pillar to the west of this pillar.
Approximately 2 hexes away, yes.
Yes. And then there's a straight line of 3 hexes. Have we crossed those? Have we explored those?
Y'all have not explored any of those.
Do you want to?
That's what I'm considering, is that in case there's something else over there.
Which hexes are we talking about?
It's just a straight, like, north to south line. Yeah.
Yeah, then we should move to the northwest one and then move down.
Yep.
Okie doke.
How far ahead can we send someone to scout without putting them in danger?
1 hex ahead.
Okay. We could do our standard scouting movements through this one to the north, and then if our scout comes back and there's nothing in that southern one, we can then double time it to the other hex. Would that make sense?
One thing y'all could also do is y'all could head to the hex that is to the south and west. Have 1 person scout north and 1 person scout south,
We could also do that.
and that would be 1 day's interval to get all 3 hexes.
Then
scouted.
yes, let's do that.
So as y'all get, who do you want to send north,
I can send Winnable.
and who do you want to send south?
There you go.
Okay, no. So y'all begin getting everyone set and ready to go. Y'all have now that we're looking at y'all's 4th week,
Dizzy.
we're in like
God.
5th week in the Mwangi, in like straight bushcraft this entire time. So if we remember, y'all spent a week to go rescue the kobolds, and then once y'all rescued the kobolds, y'all went down south and then along the river, dealt with the Pendergrasts, did a sojourn to the south of the river for a few days, then back to the river to the Elephant Village, and then from the Elephant Village, y'all spent this past 4 days going back up to the river, taking care of these 2 pillars, and this puts y'all at about the 6th day since the Elephant Village. So y'all are really efficient at your bushcraft at this point. And when Wimble and Dago come back, you very much get a few large cats, a couple herds of animals. Everything appears to be returning to more of the norm for these areas. But nothing magic, nothing dragon pillory, nothing tried to obviously attack them that wasn't normally hungry, no giant pterosaurs. So far, so jungle.
So I'm gonna ask a question, and I don't know if this should be off record or not. I'm a little bit concerned. Should we have been checking in with the Citadel with all this time that we're spending off?
Should you have?
This is the closest we've been to Acravel for a while.
Y'all are 3 days travel from y'all's
And we can make that quick travel, because we're in that southwestern hex. If we go to the one to the northwest and then immediately to the southwest, like, we could hustle it through those to get back to the temple, to check in with the Akuje, check in with Alec over at the Citadel. Do
Did
we
y'all-
want to take a moment to do that? That could be a chance. I mean, even if we can't leave the basement again, that could be a chance for us to send Arduina or one of the kobolds or a goblin into town to buy potions.
Maybe.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Yeah. Do we want to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds okay.
Sure.
Okay.
We can check on the sick kobolds that we rescued too.
That too. And, if we come back and everything's in fire, then we,
goofed.
we know something is wrong.
And if the kobolds are okay, we can bring them back home.
We can offer them that option, or we could keep them at the Citadel
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
and make a whole new kobold clan for Pib and Zarf. They could...
What if they're all back there, like, they've made a breakdancing troupe or something?
Hell yes! A whole, you got Pib and Zarf beatboxing.
I kind of anticipate it actually.
And, they're just all breakdancing. They've invented cardboard.
It's like Jason from The Good Place, if you ever watched that.
Yes.
He's got his dance troupe.
First
He's
off, it's
super
not
dumb, but
cardboard.
he's good
It is a
dancing.
woven mat, and it's
Sure.
a sequence of woven mats done out of some of the tall grasses in the area that have been harvested out. They needed something to do. They basically sat down and worked it out of hay. It works really well.
Also, I think us basically visiting the Akuje, giving them an update, being like, hey, this is what we've done, this is what we've seen so far. We're going to double back, check on stuff at home, and then we'll be back to do more stuff. That gives them the chance that they can kind of, if they want to do any scouting or do any look-arounds, be like, hey, y'all should check here, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
This is
as far as-
strategic shit.
I don't think we've told them that we have cleared all these areas.
Right, we can update them about the Elephant Village, we can update them about the half-orcs.
Tell them that this is all traversable now. Don't worry about being
Yeah, so that
paralyzed.
they can kind of get back into the rhythm of things as it is.
And you want to do your normal pace for that?
No, isn't there an option where we can go a little bit faster?
So you can move up to 2 hexes a day if you don't do any exploration activities.
Yeah, I mean, we've already moved through these hexes, so...
So you cover back over one of the first pillars that y'all encountered. I believe it was the black obsidian pillar.
Does it look like things are starting to return to normal?
This area, luckily the overgrowth, or the growth around this area wasn't particularly terrible. So there wasn't a ton of destruction here. But it does look like those that were here beforehand, nature is definitely reclaiming the area.
Good.
Y'all do move, so do you want to recover area that y'all have always covered before, or do you, because there's 2 unexplored areas in between Acravel and the pillar that y'all went to. There are areas just west of it.
I mean, we might as
Or
well.
just east.
cover
Yeah.
them. So I'll send Wimble north.
Yeah, and I can see Digger.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Y'all do make it into there and camp without any issues by the end of that day.
You guys cozy cabin.
Yep. And then y'all can make it to the foot of Acravel there in short order. So, at Acravel, what is y'all's agenda?
Probably finding, Jossie and Nikisha,
Mhm.
so that we can, give them the update and things like that.
All right.
Maybe the twin leopards that, Taffy attempted to woo. They may also want an update.
So they do direct you through Nikisha, and they are pleased to have y'all back since it's been
Weeks.
a month.
Ha.
They are glad to hear that Harriet was able to successfully find y'all.
With all that spying.
And so, what kind of story do y'all want to tell them? And of course, they do a bit of a similar set of feast.
Oh, fair.
Y'all, there's a chance for food and the like to be gathered for y'all to come in. They want to hear your stories. The kids who challenged Caslin to a hot pepper contest come in and they want to show their most recent batch that came off the vine, and they want to see how that's going on back and forth. When the twin leopards do make an appearance, they are pleased to see that y'all seem to have grown a little bit more in power, and y'all don't have that same level of shininess y'all used to have on you, as folks who had not actually really been exposed to the jungle
like
before.
greenhorns.
Because when y'all finally get a look at yourself, though you've been able to keep pretty well clean and all that type of material, your armor definitely looks like it's been through the rough, the mud, the muck. Despite your best efforts to keep things clean, things are just a little bit different from before.
I don't know what you're talking about. I am spotless.
You are spotless, And it's not so much about the spots, but there's almost always like one speck of dust somewhere, one little bit of mud.
I'm more tan than I've ever been.
Yeah, I think we all are, really.
Especially from...
Except, like, Deimos.
Like,
Deimos
only in
just
my
getting
face, though, 'cause,
progressively
like,
Deimos is more
around
tan
at this
in other
point.
places that the rest of us are not, thanks to those booty
True.
shorts.
Like, my face is pretty much the only thing that gets tan, though, because I'm wearing robes and gloves and...
That sounds so hot.
Why do you think the pillar of water is prepared every day?
Stana does want to point. She wants to make a point to talk about the temple that they found.
Okay.
The ruin. Everything. She's really impressed by it. She thinks it's really cool and stuff. She
You
is
mean the one
21.
we-
Okay, she is a baby. She gets
the one
excited
we
about
saved?
things. Yes.
So when you mention the temple, Nikisha is pleased to hear the information, and she actually beckons you over to one of the trees. Give me a perception check.
Okay. I'm assuming not for initiative.
Correct.
That's 31.
So as you begin moving around from one of the trees, you see that there's a couple of the Akuje individuals who look like they're using a little bit of primal magic, and it looks like they are maintaining an aspect of the trunk of the tree. And you found it really odd because you didn't particularly see growth. It doesn't look like there are any areas of this tree that had any type of infestation or parasite. And that's when you notice that they were making similar types of movements that you would expect in something kind of like rune carving. You know, it's just the movement of the hands, kind of like a swath, and you notice that there was a little bit of patternization to it. And then that's when you notice that along the trees that there's an aspect of ordering to how the shapes are. And as you begin moving and Nikisha's kind of taking you along the different paths up and down, you start seeing that the pattern shifts back and forth. Depending on your perspective, you get what appears to be some aspect and form of writing. And then once y'all get to a particular platform, Nikisha draws your attention to it.
Comprehend languages.
And
I'm
so
not there, so...
Nikisha takes her staff and kind of points over to him. We record much of our history in the bowels of Acravel itself. What you mention is actually pertains to this segment of history here when we begin talking about those peoples. And then she runs into this expanded sort of history list of the movements of the Kuje elves back and forth
Hell
across the area, and how you go running through the story on how it used to be part of a pilgrimage path, and a little bit more about information on what was going on at that point with the gods, and just this long, lengthy 2 hours later, y'all finally begin wrapping up with that story.
I would like to say that Sano occasionally is popping in with, oh yes, no, I learned about this one. Things like that. I don't know. She's
But
a
did
kid.
you hear it this way? And then you get the other side of that tale.
You good?
Yeah.
He's upset he didn't get the story time.
He's probably too busy eating hot peppers.
Probably.
So Deimos, is there anything you wanted to do while Stano happens to be stealing your Nikisha?
Well, all the interesting people just wandered off then.
Did you want to wander with them?
Sure, he'll tail.
All right, so how are you surviving this 2-hour dissertation that you thought you got rid of when you left college?
I mean, he should be interested, right? Because part of it's being talked about Gojira. What Deimos may be learning in this situation is that Stano's a little bit of a nerd.
Surprising.
Getting-
no one,
getting,
but maybe Deimos.
Getting
Taffy knew.
mental points there. But and he's just listening, kind of zoning out at points, kind of staring off. It's like, okay, this is
Might be shooting smiles at pretty boys and pretty girls that wander by.
yes.
All right, give me a perception check, Deimos.
Oh,
For pretty boys and pretty girls to wander by.
Probably not very good. His perception's not fantastic. 20.
So you see a particularly handsome young elf walk by,
oh,
and it looks like he has on the set of jingling devices that are used in the dance that y'all had participated in when y'all first came to Acravel. And it looks like he is trotting off with a literal jingle to his step to a particular game.
Ooh.
And Nikisha and Steno are very much conversing back and forth about the high aspects of elven history in the jungle. What do you want to do?
Oh, we're following the Jingle Dang.
You're gonna follow Jingle Boy?
Yes, if he's going to go do Jingle Dance, that is much more interesting. Whatever the heck is going on over here.
So, Deimos,
So I feel like briefly when we came into this, the assumption could have been made that Stano was the jock and Deimos was the nerd. When in actuality, I believe you can probably swap those.
Yeah.
So, Deimos,
Yes.
you follow the Jingly Man as he begins heading down to one of the lower levels, and it looks like you have several of the elven youths are practicing.
The youths.
Yes, they are practicing their dance maneuvers as well as some of their combat training while they're there. What do you want to do?
I think he'd wanna join in. That sounds like fun.
Give me some diplomacy to just jump on in.
Oh, please fail this. That'd be so funny.
Everybody stops like, can we help you? What do you do?
25.
So you get in. How do you want to approach joining their gathering?
It's just gonna come up as...
Now, let me phrase this.
How did you get a 25 at that?
Yeah, so
I need to emphasize to you that I am not very good at spur-of-the-moment brain think.
So now here's the thing. With a 25, you're going to succeed. How do you want Deimos to succeed?
He just wants to join in and,
Deimos won't make friend.
yeah, I won't make friend.
So you're gonna walk up to the pretty guy and say, "Hey, can I join?"
Then he feels
Yeah,
sorry for
basically.
you.
That's so mean.
Ow. Not quite. So, Deimos, you come up to join, and you use some of the tactics that you use when you were hitting on folks during your college days. Sometimes you went liar first. Sometimes you went smile first. This time you went dancing first into it. So
That sounds right.
You moved. You kind of edged around to the side to make sure that you could get a couple of the jingly dancing things onto your ankles. And then, in time to when a couple of them were facing off next to each other, right as one end, you waited until the pretty elf boy was just about to jump into a match, and then all of a sudden, you were the one standing in front of this gentleman instead of their opponent. And with a charm and a smile, you kind of winked and challenged them to a bout.
Alright, what are we doing here?
So, we'll keep this down to a round, considering that the game can go on for quite a bit. Let's go ahead and run this over to a dexterity type of
Could that
skill.
not just be a performance check?
So you can run it via performance, or you could run it as a dex-based attack. However aggressive you want Deimos to go at this one. You want to
Let's
be.
just do performance.
So we're going the playful route. It's a good route.
Nope, I got 24. My brain just didn't want to spit out the word.
So you find that you happen to be picking a very playful bout with one of their more skilled opponents, and it's going back and forth. And from what you can tell, they did not line up the most skilled of their young warriors in training for when y'all were first playing the game. This guy appears to be almost as skilled as maybe a young Jossie before he went off to go do some fighting for the village. And it is an even contest back and forth. Deimos will score a point, and then this young elf will score a point back and forth. And it would look like Deimos is about to get one score, and then all of a sudden the foot's not there, but the only thing Deimos sees in front of his face is his broad smile.
Of this pretty jingle boy.
Yes. His mocha-colored skin, and even a little bit of pinkness in the top of the ears as y'all begin pushing each other back and forth. There is quite a bit of smiles as everyone is very much appreciating the rhythm of the performance, as Deimos seems to be prioritizing the beat and the sound over actually winning.
Having fun.
So what do you want to do about it? You're having fun with the boys. Do you want to keep having fun with the boys?
Yeah.
Excellent.
What are we doing? Another performance?
Oh, y'all are continuing going, so
Okay.
y'all will be bantering back and forth with your legs and feet for that one. Kazalin, what would you like to do while you're in Acrovel?
So am I still with the dudes with the peppers?
Yeah, the young
Okay.
the young
The
boys
kids
are
with the peppers.
Yeah.
at this point. They've even showed you like the field where they grow their peppers, for there are many peppers to give.
Now these are some pretty impressive peppers. I need to do some thinking. Do you have flour?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Eggs?
Yeah.
What about small birds that we eat?
We just caught some this morning.
I have an idea.
Really? What
Yeah.
you got?
Well, these peppers are hot.
Yeah.
And do you have chicken? Is it chicken?
Well, we don't call it a chicken, but we call it something else. But
Okay, well,
you describe a chicken to them, they're like, we got something similar.
I think
Ours have prettier feathers.
we mix these peppers with this flour and this chicken,
Oh god.
Okay.
and we make some hot chicken.
Hot chicken. Well, isn't all chicken hot when you cook it?
No.
Oh my
Spicy chicken.
God, they're
I'm gonna-
making chicken wings.
I'm gonna teach you something, and you're gonna thank me, and your children are gonna thank me, and your grandchildren are gonna thank me because I'm about to blow your mind.
Do we need to get the elders? No, we don't need to get the elders. The elders don't need to know we're cooking. It's fine. Let's do it. You go get that. You go get that.
Are the kids
We're
not
going to
allowed
make this
cook?
work.
I don't know.
Not since the incident.
Oh no!
All right, Kazlin, how do you want to go about this?
I'm gonna gather up all the ingredients,
Okay.
find a campfire at
All
the
right.
edge of the town, so
All
as
right.
not to get too much attention. And then hopefully it's got like a cauldron or some other cooking implements there. And we're gonna make some hot chicken.
All right, what skill do you want to use on this?
Survival?
All right, give me your survival check.
I'm gonna use the big one for this one.
All right.
Wait.
That's a natural 20.
Nice. Of
Only
all the
Zach.
things to get a natural 20 on.
Only Zach.
Chicken wing, chicken wing.
Come on, Chris.
So, Zach, I don't know which gods you've prayed to make sure that Kazan hits the best natural 20s on the face of the
Aristotle?
planet.
Probably.
But in this case,
Desna.
Kazlin, you have before you something that you thought was going to be worse than it turned out. You thought that once you brought all this together that you could kind of replicate Nidalee's wings. What you realized is that you didn't replicate them, you evolved them. The type of flour that's available here in Acrovel is not the standard flour that normally would have been found in the Nidalee's area. The way the gluten happens to mix to form the batter, especially with the type of egg not being a standard chicken egg, but being from one of the local fowls, is adding a different level of umami to this situation.
Does it have a good mouthfeel?
Combined with the peppers,
I know, but I hate that word. Or freeze. Do you like
you have something that has a different type of crisp and crunch than you normally would have been able to accomplish with the standard flour and egg combination. The level of spice coming in from not just well-sourced but locally sourced peppers from their natural environments is beyond any type of comparison you were able to even remotely get access to when you were young in prison or even at the Citadel. It is all literally organic, locally sourced perfection.
Non-GMO.
not GMO?
And
Well,
then
technically, if they're breeding these for spice, then they technically are.
Oh, you're right. Because that's all GMO is breeding selectively to modify the genetics.
so you get to so you bring all of it together, and as you were coming across the kitchen that you were able to finagle some access to, You even came across a sauce that you hadn't tried before. It has a different type of taste to it. Now, are you going for a sweet, a savory? What kind of sauce are you wanting to apply to these things?
Hot as fuck.
So, to assist with some of the spice, you actually found what appears to have been a fermented sauce that has a lot of natural fructose to it from what they fermented it out of. And you found that this one is what carried the spice the best to be able to make it as palatable as possible. And while it starts off a little sweet, it kicks you in the teeth with 5-alarm fire with these wings, and you now have Kazalin wings.
God.
So
Dago's
your order
breath.
of Kazalin wings.
Dago's breath. I like
Dago's
that.
breath is a good.
So with your new Dago's breath wings, this has a similar effect to the reward you got for your original chili pepper contest before. That if you consume them, there is a very good chance that you will have to immediately take some sort of action and remove some aspect of paralysis to it. The difference is this will have, consuming these has a similar property with a DC of +2 to that. So, but they are absolutely delicious.
God damn. You ever make chicken wings so good you invent a whole new magic item?
Dago's breath chicken wings.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
So Taffy, you saw Kazalin get pulled away by the kids who challenged him to a hot pepper contest. Stano wanders off with Nikisha with young Demos in tow. What do you and Renali want to do?
Well, what time of day is it?
So y'all are able to arrive pretty much midday.
Midday.
A little bit earlier.
And by the time for all the time we've been here, we know that usually there's a rainstorm right about now.
Oftentimes.
So what Taffy's gonna do is she's gonna drag Renali into like a cozy, like little benched area,
Mm-hmm.
curl up against her and read a book, and go over her spell book. Super simple.
So as you do that, Renali kind of gets it. There's been a lot of things happening, isn't there?
Yeah, I just wanna take a moment with you. Aww. And not think about all the other shit that we've been through recently.
Good plan. Wimble? Vodka? No. Go find vodka. Vodka. Yes, Wimble. I think it's a great plan! Wimble and Ubak kind of high-five and they go on the search for vodka.
Nightmares.
My alcoholic buddies.
So y'all can, y'all take a day to sort of rest in the hospitality of the Yakuje. They very much appreciate some of the updates. Did y'all want to tell them in a particular, any particular details that you think are most important to them along the way?
I mean, it's all kind of important. Letting them know that we found more pillars that basically on a detail. I'm sure they've got maps of the area around.
They did provide you one.
So Stano's going to point out to them, like, this is the area that we've checked out so far. So this is as far out as, like, everybody can go out safely. If you see anything, obviously make note of it. We'll be back in a day or so. Obviously updating them on, what's going on with the Elephant Village and the orcs that we encountered and the Grippli is important as well. Probably pointing out the Sabasens is probably important.
Those vile things. Yes. They moved up from the south some years ago.
Well, we eliminated those 3, but I'm only assuming there might be more.
Right, the bat vampire.
Yeah. Also, I guess probably letting him know that Gerard Pendergast was a problem and is no longer a problem.
Yeah.
So, from their side, they can confirm that they have a expanded range out from their village, where before they were getting limited down to about a 10-mile range. It looks like they can now venture out to about a 30-mile range before y'all had arrived. Coming back towards the end of the day, they are getting some more of their scouting parties back in, and they can confirm out a 40-mile range now out from the area itself.
Oh, which probably lets me know about the Quetzalcoatlus that we saw.
Yeah.
Those are migrating.
Are they migratory?
They move from various parts from the northern jungle to the southern jungle in most cases.
Interesting.
For beasts that large, they tend to overhunt an area relatively quickly. It was likely a mating pair. We will make note for our hunters so that they can refrain from getting on the menu.
Interesting.
They have a tendency to be oddly intelligent hunters. If they find something that they can't immediately peck through with their bills, they will latch onto it with their hind legs, lift it anywhere from 100 to 200 feet into the air, and then drop them.
Oh, that's fascinating.
And then at most anything that survives
I'm
that
glad I'm
is
cuddled
squishy
up
enough.
with Renali, because if Taffy was there, she'd be a real smart ass.
You were very lucky that you were able to scare them off. They probably would have gotten a glint of your armor and then immediately decided to take you to the air.
Oh, Taffy scared them off.
Interesting. Was it a particular display?
She launched herself from the bushes and yelled something like, "Go away, you stupid birds."
Ah.
I mean, that's not inaccurate.
Terrifying.
And I'm the gnome, so I'm the shortest person in the party. It's like an elephant to a mouse.
Go away,
You stupid
bird.
Well, I don't think the phrasing mattered. I think more than likely she might have ended up replicating that of maybe a potential Grippli hunter or maybe even some of the other types of predators in the forest.
Interesting.
While the pterosaurs themselves are one of the apex predators, sometimes you don't have to be bigger to be the one he's eating.
Right.
I just imagined a small tribe of Grippli taking down one of those things.
Eat for
Like,
a month.
crawling all over them, stabbing and stabbing and stabbing. And if those pair had seen something like that, I could see why they would be afraid of a gnome.
Yeah.
Stano will point out that if it was not for Deimos, they would not be able to. That this party would not be able to take down the pillars as well as they are.
Ah, powerful magic indeed.
Mm-hmm.
I did one or two.
And Taffy.
I'm not there, so I can't pout. But...
Yeah. See.
It's always good to learn that one's paramour is capable of more than just other things.
Pardon?
Oh, I thought you had noticed. I guess your eyes must have been elsewhere. Damos and I happen to have done the horizontal boogaloo.
Oh my god.
Ah.
No.
I love the
Why?
phrasing
No,
of
that
that.
does sound like Deimos. No. Mm-hmm.
He has the softest hands.
It does.
Why is that everything or always what your lovers say? And even non-lovers.
Sometimes you play to your best features. Alright, so y'all can safely, comfortably bed down in Ackerville as guests. Where would y'all like to head afterwards? Or how many days do y'all want to spend in Ackerville?
Probably just that day, and then head into the temple and
Yeah.
whoosh, 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 whatever the magic noise that the thing makes.
Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Excellent.
Sure, we'll come across another goblin using his sword as a slate.
Yep. We are going to go ahead and go into the portal, going through the tunnel, 100-foot long, looks like a volcanic lava tube, heading back in, and you find yourselves now back in Alceta's ring with everything that's going on. You
And just that immediate, as we go from like this wet, humid heat to this intense, dry heat to probably
Cool.
very cold. at
dry
this
and
point.
cool. It feels cold by comparison between the two that y'all have been so acclimated.
Deimos' legs are immediately frozen.
Taffy's sitting there like,
You
she's
can
the most clothed and she's fucking freezing.
you can see goose pimples across Damos's legs, especially along the back end.
Oh yeah, Deimos and Calzone aren't wearing shirts,
Oh yeah.
so
Nipples that can cut glass.
And you do see the goblin guard with his greatsword. Now you can see that along some of the edges, it looks like there's different colored chalks that are doing like different jagged designs, and a little spot where there's a couple notes on there.
Him.
Hey, you're back!
We are.
Excellent. What do you want?
That's
Are we
rude.
still forbidden from going upstairs?
I don't know. I didn't hear anything on my shift. We kind of expected
Message
something.
to Alec. Alec, guess what?
Ah, they have returned. Let us go make preparations.
Wait, Alec,
Yes.
can we go upstairs?
Well, do you want me to go downstairs first?
Well, is a certain someone's brother still here?
Ah, I see. and we'll pick up next time.
God.